The Disappearance of Evelyn Carter, Extended Edition. Chapter 1. A City of Secrets. New Orleans, a city that thrives on jazz, mystery, and the dark hum of its secrets, was a place unlike any other. The French Quarter hummed with life, while beneath the neon glow and historic charm lay an underworld more sinister than anyone could imagine. This was where Evelyn Carter, a tenacious investigative journalist, made her mark. She was fearless, relentless, and driven by a desire to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. But in a city built on deception, the truth had a price, and Evelyn was about to learn it the hard way. Her career spanned years of exposing corruption, revealing scandals that brought down corrupt mayors, destroyed criminal enterprises, and sent shockwaves through the highest circles of power. Evelyn was no stranger to danger. She had a network of sources in places that most people dared not even consider. Her sharp instincts and her ability to read people had made her an invaluable asset to the truth seekers in New Orleans. Yet, Evelyn's most recent investigation felt different. It wasn't just the typical tale of corruption, it was deeper, darker, and more dangerous. As she dug deeper into her latest lead, she felt eyes on her, a constant presence lurking in the shadows. Something had shifted, and she knew it. Her closest friend, investigative reporter Mark Holloway, had been the recipient of her growing paranoia. "I'm being followed," she'd confessed to him one night after they'd finished a late dinner at a local diner. "There's a black SUV that's parked outside my place every night. My phone makes these weird noises. My emails are being read before I open them. I'm telling you, Mark, someone is watching." Mark had urged her to back off, but Evelyn's hunger for the truth wouldn't allow her to walk away. Then, on the night of September 14, 1996, Evelyn Carter disappeared. Chapter 2. The Last Clues. When the police arrived at her apartment, the scene was eerily normal. The television hummed in the background, broadcasting a news segment she had likely been watching before her disappearance. A half-empty glass of wine sat on the coffee table, untouched for hours. Her keys and wallet were by the door, seemingly ready for her to step out for a moment. Everything was as it should be, except for one chilling detail: her laptop had been wiped clean, its hard drive erased. Mark Holloway was the first to receive a voicemail from Evelyn. The message was brief but desperate. "They know. I have to disappear. Don't trust anyone." The message was garbled and incomplete, but the urgency was clear. Whoever they were, they had found Evelyn, and it seemed like she had been running from them for weeks. The police, with no concrete leads, began reviewing security footage from Evelyn's building. They found something unsettling. A man in a dark trench coat had been loitering near the apartment complex for hours the night before she vanished. He never entered the building, never spoke to anyone, but his presence was undeniable. The investigators were left with more questions than answers. Chapter 3. The Deepening Mystery. As detectives combed through Evelyn's notes and articles, they began to piece together a web of connections that spanned across the city. The names of city officials, police officers, and organized crime figures were all mentioned in her final reports. It became clear that Evelyn was investigating something much larger than anyone had anticipated. A confidential informant, known only as Redbird, came forward with a chilling message. "She found the names. The ones they don't want anyone to know. If she's gone, it's because she got too close." The investigators were left wondering who they were and what names Evelyn had uncovered that had made her a target. Was she the victim of a random kidnapping, or had she uncovered something so powerful that it had cost her life? Chapter 4. The Man in the Trench Coat. Months passed with no solid leads. The case began to grow cold, and the city's attention shifted elsewhere. But in 1997, retired detective Samuel Greaves, who had become obsessed with Evelyn's disappearance, received an unmarked package. Inside were photographs, grainy, black and white images of Evelyn speaking to the same man in the trench coat. One of the pictures showed him handing her an envelope. Another showed her glancing nervously over her shoulder, aware that she was being watched. Greaves traced the photographs back to a private investigator named Thomas Langley, who had been hired by an anonymous client to follow Evelyn in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. But Langley, too, had vanished. The only clue left behind was a notebook containing a single, cryptic message: she found something buried. Something deep. The crescent holds its secrets. Chapter 5. The Crescent Connection. The phrase, "the crescent holds its secrets," sparked widespread speculation. Some believed it referred to Crescent City Bank, a historic institution with ties to money laundering and shady dealings. Others argued that the phrase was a metaphor for New Orleans itself, the Crescent City, steeped in its own tangled web of corruption and crime. In 2012, an anonymous tip led authorities to a safety deposit box in Crescent City Bank. Inside, they found a cassette tape labeled, "EC, Final Words." When the tape was played, it sent chills down the spines of those who listened. Evelyn's voice, strained and desperate, filled the air. "If you're hearing this, it means my plan failed. I thought I could outrun them, but they're always watching. If you want the truth, start with the old library archives. Follow the money, and don't trust anyone." Chapter 6. The Last Confession. In 2017, a major breakthrough occurred when a storage unit in Baton Rouge, linked to a deceased private investigator, was opened. Inside, investigators found a treasure trove of documents, photographs, and a single videotape labeled, "EC, Last Confession." The tape revealed Evelyn, now older and visibly weary, speaking directly to the camera. "If you're watching this, it means they didn't find me in time. I was right about everything. Trust no one." The documents uncovered were a mixture of classified government files, coded messages, and surveillance photos of high-profile figures. It was clear that Evelyn had been onto something monumental, something worth killing for. Chapter 7. The Shadow Operatives. Among the recovered documents was a list of coded names, each one connected to an underground network of operatives with links to federal agencies, intelligence agencies, and organized crime syndicates. The names represented individuals who had either been assassinated or disappeared under mysterious circumstances. This was no longer just about local corruption, it was about a much larger power struggle, one that reached the highest levels of government and law enforcement. Hannah Brooks, a journalist who had taken over Evelyn's case, began receiving the same ominous warnings. Black SUVs appeared outside her office, her phone lines were tampered with, and anonymous threats poured in. As she followed the trail left by Evelyn, she began to realize that Evelyn had built an intricate, methodical path to the truth. A breadcrumb trail meant to expose the truth if Evelyn was silenced. Chapter 8. The Endless Search. Despite the years that had passed, Evelyn Carter's disappearance remains one of the most perplexing and chilling mysteries in American history. Was she a victim of powerful forces trying to silence her? Or was she always one step ahead, leaving behind a puzzle too complex for anyone to solve? Even today, journalists, amateur detectives, and conspiracy theorists continue to search for answers. Somewhere in the forgotten archives, in a hidden drawer, or in the whispers of those who know too much, lies the final piece of the puzzle. And perhaps, just perhaps, Evelyn Carter is still out there, watching, waiting for the moment when the truth will finally come to light.